I think we can all agree that Dead by Daylight is far from perfect. As a matter of fact, I think we can all agree that Dead by Daylight got a lot of issues. Issues that constantly impacted the enjoyment of the game to the point where it led to people taking breaks from it every now and then or quitting it altogether. I myself am definitely one of the people that doesn't play the game that active anymore. At the moment, honestly, only for when I am recording something for this channel. Said issues range from technical problems to gameplay mechanics to toxic community behavior getting enabled by such mechanics and a whole lot more. In my last DBD game video of 2024, I said that the thing that behavior should focus on in 2025 in regards to the game is to go ahead and make it healthier. To go ahead and take the time to bring the game into a better, healthier and more enjoyable state, especially ahead of the release of the FNAF chapter, which will attract a lot of new players that will not stick around if things stay the way they are. And I am both shocked and happy to see that Behavior finally plans on tackling exactly those issues with their upcoming Dead by Daylight Quality of Life initiative. They will work on this throughout the entire rest of the year, and even decided to push back chapters and other content in favor of these improvements, which is exactly what they need to do. Right now, the game is at a point where ensuring the health of the game is more important than just throwing more and more into a collapsing house, such as FNAF this summer. Phase 1 takes place from April through June and tackles various gameplay and quality of life issues. We're getting things like gamma adjustments, which lets us make the game brighter if needed, which is great. The game got a lot of grey and dark maps. Tackling AFK bots, sure, always good. Area with quest system sounds definitely exciting and something that could light some spark for a lot of players. And obviously, bulk blood point spending is also something that annoys players every day. It already got made a bit more bearable not even too long ago, but it still wasn't enough yet, so good that we can now spend them in bulk to save more time. Now there's some really interesting aspects that I'm really intrigued to see how they play out. Anti-slugging and the surrender option is definitely high on that list for many. There goes basically not a single week without a tweet popping up on my timeline complaining about survivors getting bled out. Now the thing is, slugging in itself is not necessarily a bad thing. As a matter of fact, it's actually a vital and important gameplay mechanic for the killer side, especially in high MMR lobbies. You need slugging to counter specific perks or situations, like with flashlights or sabotage. So slugging itself should not be nerfed or removed, which is likely not what they're doing. Instead, they're tackling the dumb idiots of killer players that waste everyone's time by slugging all 4 survivors on the ground instead of just ending the game. As a killer man myself, I never understood this toxic mindset. Yes, there are games where survivors can be toxic pains in the ass, but it's still such a childish and annoying thing to do, especially when it's the entire lobby. Giving survivors the option to surrender here to save time is smart and logical. Just like it's smart and logical to tackle extreme hiding and body block prevention. The amount of times I as the killer had to waste minutes trying to somehow find the last survivors that just started to hide is crazy. Like, why waste my and your own time? For what? What's the point? Same thing for killers that trap survivors in spots and let them stand there till the servers go out. Super dumb, childish, toxic behavior that will no longer be a thing. Great, even though it's clear that these are just fixes to a general toxic community. Even though you now have counters to such antics, the experience will still be bad when you find yourself in such moments, hence I hope action will actually be taken against players engaging in such behavior. Mentioning bad behavior, giving up early as a survivor is awful. You ruin the experience for both your teammates and the killer that just wanted to have a good game. It's once again childish, very egoistic, and an expression of a weak mindset. Trust me, there were games where it did the same thing, but because 2 other players were also on hook or other acceptable reasons. Going next on the very first hook or you merely wanting to leave the game as soon as you see a killer you don't like is not that. Trust me, I hate playing against specific killers too, but that is the nature of the game. You can't join the queue and then ruin the game because it's not the way you want it. Another thing that would be tackled are more perk loadouts and a loadout preview. Now I personally didn't need more than 3 loadouts, but more is obviously good. The whole preview thing is interesting because it had been a thing on mobile already and is now finally coming to the main game. One fear some players have here is that depending on your build, your survivor teammates may leave the lobby if it isn't what they want it to be. Who knows what's gonna happen with that. The last thing for phase 1 are map offerings and spawn points. Map offerings were in a dire need of a nerf or change. As a killer, it's super frustrating to be constantly sent to the same unbalanced maps. The chance of a map offering working is now only 20% and it will be hidden in the loading screen. Sounds good enough for now. Final change regarding spawn points is that all survivors will now spawn within 12 meters of one another. Honestly, not something I thought was really an issue, and I'm intrigued to see how that will impact the early game for both sides. That is it with Phase 1 for April to June. Phase 2 will be tackled all the way through July to December. More anti-slugging improvements, anti-tunneling and anti-camping will be adjusted, just like MMR updates and general map and key items, which has also been part of discussions within the community. Better accessibility, prestige rewards and more is also on the horizon, which is also very welcome. All in all, this is a massive step into the right direction and long overdue. BHVR is notorious for often taking things too late, so I'm glad we finally got to this point where we don't just tackle one thing but a lot of issues at once. And that in favor of other releases, which at this stage is simply necessary. I do believe we also need to have a deep look into the community and behavior of its players, and also just the general performance of the game, which feels still very buggy and unstable and just outdated. Once all of this is done, I really hope they will go ahead and work on improving the technical level of the game, which will likely require a completely new code and from the ground build-up system, which is obviously going to take time and cost money. But that time and money is going to be necessary to ensure the future of this game that we all hate but also love so much. What do you think about the upcoming adjustments? Let me know down below and see you back soon. The Fogfire.